Hello all. Happy Tuesday. It is January 9th, I believe. I hope that's the date. A little after 10. I am just having a kind of like lazy day off in some loungewear and just hanging out. And I knew I wanted to record today, so I figured I would pop on now. No better time than the present, I suppose. My name is Sarah. I am coming to you from Ohio. I live just east of Cleveland, Ohio. It is a terribly weathered day here. It is incredibly windy and rainy and cold and miserable. It just looks miserable out and it's gross and I don't like it. But it is what it is. Anyway, that was quite an odd introduction. Sorry about that. I'm a little scattery today. I suppose no different than any other day. But I don't know if you noticed the change in location. I normally record from my craft room, which is in our downstairs area of the house. I'm up here today for a million reasons, really just three. All of my WIPs were just up here anyway, and my craft room is freezing. And I just put on a pot of spaghetti sauce, which I somehow always burn. So I thought maybe if I could keep a visual, keep a smell on it, maybe I wouldn't burn it today. So yeah. I do, just not that anybody really cares about my house layout, but I say upstairs. This is actually the main floor of the house. I've talked before. We live in a it's called a raised ranch, so our basement is not really a basement. It has like full-size windows and all of that. It's just half underground. So my craft room is actually an addition that was built before we bought the house, and it does not have really any good heating or air conditioning to it, so it gets like really cold in the winter time. So I just didn't feel like it. Again, I'm just having a lazy day. I just want to be cozy. So all of my yarn was basically up here anyway, because it just is. You can kind of always tell like what room I've been in, because I always leave a project like hanging around, right? And then my sauce. Again, not that anybody cares. Yes, I do understand that I could use a crock pot and then I wouldn't possibly burn it, because my sauce is a recipe from, well, I don't know, it's supposed to be a homemade recipe, but I do substitute it with some like store-bought spaghetti sauce just to make like a larger quantity at a time. And what was my point? Oh, so it's on the stove cooking. I try to cook it for the majority of the day. And I'm pretty sure my grandma would kill me if she knew I made my homemade sauce in a crock pot and not in a stock pot on the stove. So, just gotta respect the elders and how they did things. Anyway, you all didn't need to know any of that. If you're still here, thank you. But let's get into the knitting, because that's what I'm excited to talk about today. This last week, I feel, was just like a week of casting everything on. I have no idea what I was thinking. Now I'm overwhelmed with all of the WIPs going on, and yet I'm gonna be casting on something else today. I don't even know. I just got excited. I got the itch to knit all the things. My gift knitting was done for Christmas, and I just wanted to do all the things. The most exciting thing that I do want to talk about, though, is I actually have a finished object. And it's not a pair of socks, which is even more exciting. I finished my Reverb wrap, which is a 2 of Wands pattern. It is available both free on her blog site or a paid-for pattern if you don't want all the ads and all that junkety junk. Also, side note, while I am up here, you will probably get some animal action. They're not allowed in my craft room, so we have 2 dogs and 2 cats, so you're gonna get something, and my cat is trying to knock down my tripod right now. Anyway, you're gonna get a little intro. This guy right here is Sneezy. He doesn't like to be held, but anyway, he's a big old oversized cat that we adopted over the summer. He is about 10, they think, and he came to us with the name Sneezy, which is very fitting for him because he is one of those cats with like the smushed in noses, a mix of that. So he does have congestion issues and sneezes all the time. So it's pretty funny. And he's made himself cozy on my Reverb wrap. Hey guy, thank you. So Reverb wrap is done. I'm so, like, I'm literally so excited. So, this is, well, it doesn't really matter. I kept the stitch marker in just to mark my own personal progress from last week's episode, but it is done in all of her beautiful glory. Dun, da, 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 da. So yeah, so it's just a mix. I bought the kit. It is 2 of Wands yarn, Color Theory yarn by Lion Brand. I bought the kit, so these are the colors that I believe she made her sample knit out of. It's just a ton of neutrals. Let me wrap this guy up. I really love wraps, but I'm really unsure like how to wear them. So I'm still learning that, but I do, I'm gonna be a wrap girl. I said that already, but I am pretty excited about that. So this is not wrapped well, but anyway, general gist. Okay, opinions about this wrap. I loved it. I did get very anxious in like halfway into the second color block, like right here, and then finishing the end, because I just wanted it done. Like it is very meditative. It is a 4-row repeat, so super easy to memorize once you get going, and then you just have to pay attention to your stitch count at some point, you know, to know when to change your colors, which, you know, that's not even like whatever if you went too far, whatever. But no buts. I really, really liked it. I am now obsessed with an I-cord edging. I just feel like it is so, like, fancy is not the right word, but just it's just like neat, like physically, and I also like mentally thought it was like so neat, cool, like how you do it. It's just like, I don't know, I just love watching stuff work up, right? So I love the I-cord edging. It had an I-cord bind off, which I have not done before, so that was exciting. I don't know if the color palette ended up not really being like a me thing, but I also wouldn't have known that until I worked it up. Like, I don't mind the first and this like black and white. Also, I really probably just need to watch like a video on how to wear a wrap. But this middle section doesn't make much sense to me in like the color scheme of things, but I really loved how she wore it and how it looked on her. So I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to force myself to wear it. I'm sure I'm going to end up loving it. I would 100% make this wrap again, but I think I would love to just do it in 2 colors the whole way through, honestly. I mean, it's really a great pattern. It's really, really great. And it gives you practice with a few different kinds of stitches, and I really liked it, and I'm so happy. And I'm so happy it's done. I did make 2 mistakes though, super annoying, when I was weaving in the ends. Literally, how do you mess it up when you're weaving in the ends? Let me see if I can try to find it. I think what had happened is I was weaving through where I had my stitch marker and didn't realize it. So the one part ended up being like really bunched, like scrunched, and I couldn't figure out why. So I was pulling it, and then I ended up breaking the yarn. Like, take the stitch marker out. It was so stupid. So, oh, right here, I found it. So I ended up breaking the yarn. I mean, obviously you're not gonna be able to tell when I'm wearing it, but it's gonna like bother me forever and always. It's right, oh my God, oh, there it is. It's right there. See this, like this one long stitch right under my finger there? So I broke the yarn, so then I had to like very carefully like weave in then the broken yarn to make sure it didn't come loose. And then somehow I don't know how this happened. It must have happened. I must not have, like, when I changed colors, I must not have secured the yarn well enough. But here I have like a hole. You see that hole right there? I see it. And when it's all together, you don't see it. So like, whatever, live and learn. But I don't know, it's just so stupid. Like, how did I do that? But anyway, mistakes happen. Part of being handmade, all those things that people say. But it's done. It's done, and it's really squishy, and I really like this yarn, and I believe it is like a washable acrylic yarn, so I can just pop her in the wash, which I don't know if I'll do, because I get a little like weird about my handmaids. Like, I'm terrified my washer's gonna eat them. So we'll see. but she's done. And I'm so excited. So my first finished object of 2024 majorly started in 23, but I'm counting it for this year. It's going in the stats. Yes, it is. I'm really excited. And I really do recommend the pattern a lot. And I will absolutely be remaking it. Not anytime soon, because as if you saw in my last video, Lord knows I have a lot of projects ahead of me. So no repeating right now. All right, moving on to the next WIP, or first WIP, I guess I should say, sorry. I'm just so excited to be doing this. I'm like, can't even keep my little mind straight. I picked up to make the second sock of, these are for my husband, the Diamondback socks. This is the one that's completed. It's just this great little diamond pattern. This is by Kay the Crazy Sock Lady. And I am making it in Mirasol hand-painted blend of merino, bamboo, and nylon, and it's in the colorway Paso Andes. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. I'm not cultured, but this is the yarn. So I picked this up on New Year's Day. I had planned to cast it on. So this is the second sock, and it's going really good. I'm past the heel, and I'm past all the decreases. I'm literally just on the foot. I counted ahead, and I think I only have like 3.5 more diamonds to make, which is they're a 24 round repeat. So I think I have 3.5 more to do. I'm trying to do a diamond a day, which is so 24 rounds a day, to try to get these done. And I would it today Tuesday, I said. I would really like to have them done by the weekend, mostly just so they're off my mind. These socks have been a nightmare for me. I confidently say I will never make this pattern again. A me thing, not a pattern thing. Don't ever blame Kay for anything. She's amazing. Her patterns are amazing. I do not enjoy patterns that I cannot memorize the repeats. It's too much for me to constantly be looking at a pattern. Like, my world around me is too busy and noisy. And I just don't like it. I feel like I'm constantly like losing my place. I don't like them. They are incredibly elegant, and I'm so happy with what will be the end result. I'm very proud of myself for tackling these. But these were started in May of 2023. So I was still like a new sock knitter back then, I would consider myself. So I had no idea what I was getting into, is my point. When I started these for him, no, this pattern is not for me. Patterns like this in general are not for me. I cannot. But the thought and the product that went into this, like from the designer's end, is incredible. Mind-blowing. So it's not a knock on that. It's just like my style of knitting, right? Everyone has their own preferences. So again, Diamondback socks. I pray that these are done by the weekend, because I'm done. I'm done with them. Next cast on that happened this week, or this past week, I should say, are I am making a pair of socks for a coworker of mine who is having a birthday at the end of January. And she is incredibly knit-worthy. We talk about my handmade socks all the time because I wear them to work a lot. And I'm really, really excited to make these for her. So I don't think that I have the tag name, but these are a Nordic fiber stripe yarn. I had bought it in December, and see those pretty little shiny sparkles in there. I hope she likes these. I wanted to try her yarn. I've heard about it for a very long time, and then obviously, as I talked about in the last video, like I had a panic in December, at the end of December, and bought like just so much yarn. It was ridiculous. Anyway, but I bought these specifically because I knew that I wanted to make these socks for her. So I am just doing a 2x2 ribbed sock, just really following like, you know, a vanilla pattern, and just doing the ribbing because she did try on a pair of my socks that I've made for myself, just so I kind of like secretly knew what size to make her, and they did fit her well, but I just wanted the rib just as like a, you know, like a backup. So I am through the heel. I am working on the decreases right now. And aren't they just so pretty? My lighting in here is kind of like weird and bright, but they're really beautiful. And then I am doing a, what's it called? Like I'm using a different color for the heel, and I will probably use it for the toes too, just so that the stripes, you know, like kind of stay the same width. So doing that, and I'm just using like an old, this was from a farmer's daughter fiber. This was one of the 20 grams from like a sock squad from 2023. So that's good, doing that. And then let's see what's next here. Okay, next I started a temperature blanket, which my girlfriend Janice and I are doing together. We have almost the same, well, a little bit of a different color palette, but I still thought it would just be so much fun to do it together. We're just using Lion brand, has a free temperature blanket pattern. So that's all we're using. And it's 2 rows a day. There's like 240 stitches in a row or something like that. I'm not sure, but I did time it, and it takes me 10 minutes to do the 2 rows. And then I adamantly want to weave in my ends as I go as well, just so that that doesn't get crazy by the end, because if I leave it for the end, I'll never do it. I know that for sure. So I do have to weave in my first week's ends, which isn't bad because we didn't have very many color changes. So this was, where are we at here? My golly. This was week 1, or January 1st to the 8th. Of Northeast Ohio weather. So that's about it. We stay pretty consistent here. So yeah, I'm super excited. This darker blue is temps between like 33 and 42 or something. And then this lighter blue is temps like, I don't know, 20 something to 32, or I don't remember. But I have a little card with everything on it. Not with me, of course, but you don't really care. So anyway, that's been super fun to work that up, and it's just easy. I do it right before like I go to bed, and we're just using the highest temperature of the day. And it's actually been funny too, because she lives just like 20 minutes west of me, and like our temperatures have been a little different. So it's like, I don't know, that's Ohio for you, I guess, but anyway. And then I did cast on 2 sweaters. What? I know. I'm putting this one down though. So I did cast on, first I casted on Gray Space, is that what it's called? Gray Space by Tiff Neilan. And I didn't get very far. I got, I don't know, this many rows done. So this is, it's a really nice funnel neck sweater with, like, it's the top half is one color, and then there's just a few rows of color work. So I thought that would be a really nice introduction to color work for me, because I've only ever done it one time on a pair of socks, and then the bottom half is a different color. So I thought that it would be really nice to do that. And so this is as far as I got on the like funnel neck. Honestly, it's probably only like 10 rows, if that. And then I got mad at it because, that's not the right word, but I couldn't find my small, cable, whatever it's called. I couldn't find my small cable. So I was trying to do magic loop with it, and I don't mind magic loop at all, but this funnel neck has a pattern to it that you do need to pay attention to the tension. And with magic loop, I was finding it really, really difficult to do that. So I'm just not happy with where my 2 like ends are. And then so I got frustrated and I put it down. So then I went to go grab other yarn to make another sweater that I will talk about in a minute. And I found my small cord. So I'm gonna rip this out. I'm not devastated. It's not that much, and it didn't take me very long. So I'm gonna rip this out and restart this with the smaller cord that I found. That's not the right word. interchangeable needle cord. Well, yeah, I guess it is. So anyway, so I'm gonna rip this out and I'm gonna restart with the smaller cord. And I'm going to keep both WIPs going at the same time, and I will tell you why. The other sweater that I'm going to talk about in one moment is knit on larger needles. I cannot knit as long. I've said this before, so I'm sorry, but I cannot knit as long on larger needles just because it hurts my hands after a while. So I would like to just kind of keep both sweaters going at the same time. I know obviously that means that it will take me longer to make both of them, but I just like having the variety. I get overwhelmed with the amount of WIPs that I have, but I'm also like, I in no way could ever be like a monogamous knitter. At the end of last year, sorry, this is a very small tangent, like fall time of last year of 2023, I had a bit of a routine going where I had like a blanket, a pair of socks, and some kind of garment going. And I thought that that was a really nice like variety, I guess, because they were all different needle sizes and they all had just different meanings. They were different ones I could take with me and all the things. So I was like, yes, this is what I'm gonna do. I even said it on one of my videos. I'm like, this is what I'm gonna do from now on. It works great. Blanket, socks, and some kind of garment. I don't know what happened, because since then I have not been doing it. Well, then we got, to be fair, then we got like closer into gift knitting season and all these things. And I just have a lot of projects that I want to make. So I'm either overwhelmed by the amount of WIPs I have, or I'm overwhelmed by the amount of projects I want to make. Right now I'm overwhelmed with both. So then I was like, do I just cast everything on? Do I? And then I just have all of it going? But then maybe it never gets done. I don't know. There's no right way. There's no wrong way. There's no one way. I know that for sure, for certain. So that's the gray space sweater. If you caught any of that. And then the other sweater I cast on, again, I had yarn for all of this, is the Wednesday sweater by PetiteKnits. Yes. So this I'm using my Premier Serenity chunky yarn. It's a tweed in the colorway Eclipse. And it's just really, it's an awesome navy with just like greens and yellows and some whites. It's a really nice speckle. I guess it's not tweed, sorry. Maybe it's tweed. Yeah. Anyway, I made one other sweater in this yarn in a gray color, and I really love the feel of it. I don't love the sweater. That's a whole different subject. But I love the yarn. So I am not very far, and I made this on my small circumference cord, which I need to change over immediately because it's too squished with the chunky yarn. But anyway, so you start with it's a drop down shoulder construction with the turtleneck, and it just screams cozy, and I love cozy, and I'm always cold, so I never shy away from like chunky yarns or sweaters or heavy garments at all, because I am always cold. So anyway, so I'm starting the back paneling, shoulder shaping situation with some blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to give away the pattern, I guess. But yes, so anyway, it's just going to be a super chunky turtleneck sweater, and I'm super stoked about it. And it doesn't matter when I get it done, because honestly, I will wear this sweater in summer as well. Like, yes, I am a cold person, not like emotionally. Temperature wise, I'm a very cold person. So this is how the fabric's working up. I just love it so much. I just think it's like, we all know I am afraid of colors, although I am trying to embrace it. But I just feel like this is such a great, navy is like my neutral. I love navy. So it's just a great neutral with like specks of color, right? Like I'm just like dipping my toe in, just dipping that toe in. I wish this lighting was better too, because it's not showing up as beautiful as it is. I also thought by recording up here, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much more light in my little, like, this room that I'm in, and it's like terrible. But anyway, whatevs. So those are, did I do all my, yeah, those are all my WIPs. So the next thing I'm gonna cast on is a baby blanket because one of my coworkers is expecting, and I'm so excited for her. She is due in June, and she just found out over the weekend that she's having a baby girl. So I was kind of waiting to find out what she was having to decide colors. Not that I do like always like pinks or blues. Sometimes I do neutral blankets too, but I just kind of, yeah, anyway. So she just found out she was having a girl. And then I do, I like to give myself plenty of time with baby blankets because I do find that they get very monotonous and boring, and then I just get like mad at them. Like, God, I just want you to be done already. So I figure if I start it now, which I'm starting it today, I believe, then it gives me like plenty of time. It gives me like, I want to have it done by May. So it gives me like the end of May. So almost 5 months to get this done. So I should not get angry with it then. But the issue is I didn't want to buy any more yarn this year if I didn't have to. And I did give myself the caveat of if I was like ran out of yarn on a project I was finishing, or if I truly didn't have yarn in my stash. I want to make her the droplets blanket. It is a pattern that was put out by Pearl Soho. It is a free pattern. And I will put the actual designer up here with the picture because I can't say her name and I don't want to disrespect her by saying it wrong. And it's a beautiful blanket with these like just droplet. It's a droplet pattern and it's so pretty. And you use Japanese wrapped stitches, I think it's called. So it's like a new thing for me to learn. So I was just super excited. And it's just a very like lightly textured, delicate, classy, neat looking blanket. And those are kind of like the characteristics that remind me of my coworker. I try really hard to not just make like a generic baby blanket. Like I really like to find patterns that I feel like are like personal, at least for me, to me, like about the person, like the mom that I'm making it for. I don't know if that made sense. But like, so I don't always have like a go-to pattern. Anyway, so it calls for DK weight. So this is my problem. Well, a couple problems. Okay. When I found out she was having a girl, I immediately thought about a sport weight yarn that I already have at home. First problem is that sport weight yarn I specifically bought to make myself the Saw Creek pullover when it is released by Andrea Gone, which I don't even know when that is. So I was like, ooh, what do I do? So I'm like, well, the pattern for the pullover will always be there, but this baby's coming, right? So like, baby takes priority. So I very unselfishly was like, well, I'll just use my sweater yarn for the baby blanket, which I don't even think would be enough anyway. So I probably would still need to like get some more for it. And then if I'm already buying the yarn, then I might as well rebuy the yarn for the pullover. That's a different story. The issue is the yarn is, it calls for DK weight and this is sport weight. So I have a couple options. Well, first of all, this is the yarn that I want to use. It's like the most beautiful, like rose, antique-y. Ugh, I wish this lighting was better so you could actually see it. It's so pretty. It is the Heatherly Sport Weight yarn by Knit Picks in Sweet Bing. It is a 80% acrylic, 20% merino wool. And you supposedly can machine wash this, and I have made this in other baby blankets that have been machine washed and they held up great. So I always like to try to use some kind of like mostly acrylic base for baby blankets because I remember being a new mom and I'm not going to hand wash a blanket. Like it's just not going to happen, right? So I wanted to hold up for her, and this color, I immediately thought of this color for her. So I can either, I looked at the pattern and it's an 8-stitch repeat in the pattern. So I can either add another 8-stitch repeat and just kind of like see how it goes size wise. I know what it's supposed to be, you know, what the finished thing is supposed to be. We all know that I have to restart projects multiple times anyway. It's probably because I don't gauge swatch. Maybe I'll consider that this time, probably not. So I either use this and add an 8-stitch repeat or more if needed, a 16, add 16 stitches to it, and use the sport weight. I do have to do the calculation to see if I have enough for the blanket. I really, really don't think I do. Or I scour for some new DK weight yarn and just buy the right quantity and have the right thing, and then don't have to do the maths of adding the 16 stitches, and which essentially then also is going to make the blanket take me longer, right? Because I'm using a smaller, thinner yarn and adding more stitches. So it really becomes a little bit of a dilemma because I really wanted to start it today. And if I have to buy yarn, then I'm not starting it today, but that's not necessarily the worst thing ever. So I'm quite in a predicament about this, because I really, really like this color for her. So I don't know what to do. I'm gonna maybe I'll start with doing the math of how much yarn of this I have versus the yardage that the pattern calls for. Although I still am bad at doing conversion of like DK yardage to sport weight yardage, and then if I'm adding stitches to it. And I definitely don't want to make the blanket smaller because it's already, the throw or the crib size is already small. It's like 30 inches by 41 inches. So I would really like it to be about that size. So I have to add stitches if I'm going to use my sport weight. And I can't even like up the needle size because then it'll totally ruin like the texture of the blanket. So this is my major yarn dilemma already, January 9th, and I already feel the need to purchase like yarn, but it's for a baby blanket, and I really don't have enough DK yarn. Like I literally don't at all have any. So, would I really want to cast it on today? Anyway, I don't know. I guess I'll update you guys next week what I decide, because I'm really stressed out about it. Not so dramatic. I'm not stressed out. I just am torn. I'm torn about what to do. Also, speaking of buying yarn, I do have to admit, nobody cares, and this is like for my own like conscious like guilty admission. I did sign up for a yarn subscription on January 1st. So yeah, I kicked myself for that, but it's okay. I'm trying to stick to these rules of not buying things, and I re-signed up for the Farmer's Daughter Fiber Sock Squad for this year. I was watching another YouTuber that I love, Pine Cottage Knits, I think her name is, and she was talking about like the colorways for this year. She had the same issue I did last year, where the colors like weren't always her jam, which is why I ended up canceling my subscription sometime in the fall, I think, because I wasn't loving the colorways. But then she was talking about how she looked at this year's, and it's just very earth tone based, which is her jam, happens to be my jam as well, especially nothing. It's just my jam as well in general. So I signed up, and I guess like I could have signed up December 31st, and then I technically wouldn't have like been, whatever, like literally who cares? Like whatever. I mucked up already. I bought yarn January 1st at like 10 in the morning. So I made it 10 hours successfully into the new year without buying any yarn. Whatever. But I am excited to get it every month, because I do, I'm hoping that that'll also like curb my, like, not buying yarn all the time too, if that makes sense. I mean, we all got problems, right? Yarn buying is mine, and I'm not the only one. So I did buy that, and then I might be buying yarn for this baby blanket. I really need to give that a good thought. Or maybe I'll even like start working the blanket up in this and seeing how I like it. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. But anyway, thank you very much for joining me. This was such an odd video, or maybe it's just like all my other videos and I didn't realize it. I do appreciate you hanging out. Feel free to drop drop me a comment below. I do love that. And we'll see you next week. I'm going to try to do these every week. So let's see if that happens too. All right. Otherwise, have a great week, and we'll see you soon.